Hey everybody, welcome back to the weird, wild world of Wheeler. It's finally time to talk about it. I've been waiting a few days so that I wouldn't get too emotional in this video, but it's time to talk about thank you, Sean Payton, for the 15 seasons we had, and we're gonna miss you. And it's gonna be different. I mean, most of we haven't had to worry about a head coach search in a long time. And I remember when we got Sean Payton, it was like, whoa, it was after Katrina. It was a rough time in Saints history, but it worked out. And then this is back to back. Drew Brees retires, and then the next season Sean Payton retires. It's like, bam, bam. But we got this. We got this. All of y'all that have been Saints fans for the amount of time that, like me, who's been a Saints fan since I was a little kid in the '80s, we've gone through hard times before, and I don't think it's going to be as hard of times as some people think. I think we're going to be all right. So what I was going to talk about is the coaching search that I believe is going to how it might pan out, and also I've talked about this book before. I plan on rereading it in honor of Sean Payton retiring. Home Team. He's also got his movie coming out, the comedy with Kevin James, that's kind of loosely based on when he went coach his son's team. That's out tonight, so I plan on watching that tonight. Um, yeah, yeah. So thank you once again, Sean Payton. Thank you. We got a Super Bowl ring because of you and Drew. Won't never forget it. Coaches. I think the first choice, the obvious choice, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. I think it's DA, Dennis Allen, moving from defensive coordinator to head coach. You retain Pete Carmichael and you make him full time play caller because he's done a lot of play calling before for us. The year that Sean was out, when Sean broke his leg, he played. He did a couple of games, calling plays, and in the game when Sean was out with COVID this year, was Pete Carmichael play calling. So I think you give him the chance. He's proven that he can do it. He might shine. I think he will shine actually as a play caller. So I think that's your first, like, the obvious choices right there. And then you have to find a defense coordinator. There's some guys out there you could look into getting and grabbing. I'll talk about that maybe on another video. But your second choice, and they're actually interviewing him. They've announced that they're going to interview him. They announced it like 2 hours ago. Is Brian Flores, who Miami for some reason fired, and nobody can figure out why. He had 2 back-to-back winning seasons with him. Yeah, he didn't make the playoffs, but I mean, you gonna give him a little bit of a chance? Like, I don't know. I've seen teams have really bad seasons and fire their coaches, but man, it's hard to fire your coach after 2 winning seasons. Like I said, I get not making the playoffs, but y'all haven't made the playoffs in forever. Like, what's anyway? He's available now. We're gonna interview him. In that situation, I think you try to also retain Carmichael as play caller if you do hire him, and go from there. A third option that not many people are talking about. I think somebody said Bobby Abear talked about it a couple of days ago, but I just came across an article about it for some reason and thought, whoa, yeah, Doug Peterson. He lives in Monroe, Louisiana. I mean, I know that's a long way from New Orleans, but it's still Louisiana. He's got ties to Sean Payton through the coaching tree. Won a Super Bowl. His record, I got it written down right here, with the Eagles was 42-37-1. With a 4-2 playoff record. I mean, he beat Tom Brady and New England and Belichick with Nick Foles at quarterback. Like, you gotta kind of consider that an option right there, I kind of like that one. And then defense coordinator was, if nobody grabbed Dennis Allen, could you retain him? I doubt it because he might be kind of frowned upon by being passed over for Doug Peterson. So I don't know. You still have the defense coordinator thing to figure out in that situation. Fourth option, Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs. Kind of the same thing as Doug Peterson, though. You have to start looking at your defense coordinators and whatnot. Fifth option is Brian DeBall, who is the offensive coordinator for the Bills. And a sixth option is actually they have an interview with him is Brian Leftwich, the offensive coordinator at Tampa Bay, who also was a quarterback for the Jags back in the day. But which I'm surprised the Jags haven't snatched him up and hired him yet. Like they said the deal was done, and then like that went out the window. So I don't. The Jags are screwing shit up all the time though. So like, are you surprised that they might screw that up? But he seems like that'd be the obvious candidate in Jacksonville. But the Saints have an interview with him. So, yeah, in fact, the 4 interviews that are scheduled as of right now that I saw are Dennis Allen, obviously, Flores, Leftwich, and Aaron Glenn, who's the defense coordinator of the Lions. I don't know how I feel about that one. I think that's the only one on the list that I'm kind of like, I wouldn't be that pumped about it. I could be wrong. Been wrong in the past. But the Lions aren't exactly winners. And our defense is already strong. It's not, like we're an offense. We need to keep our defense intact and have a good defense coordinator. I agree with that. And but I think if we're gonna go after a defensive line coach, it's Flores or Allen. You keep Allen, or you get Flores. I think Aaron Glenn is like a desperation call. If everybody else turns the job down, he might be the guy you go for. But and then that's a bad sign for us if it is, which we have to do with the salary cap, which is $71 million. We're above. That's rough. But I started looking at the numbers yesterday, and it's not as bad as it seems. We're basically in the same position as we were last year. Yes, we're gonna have to cut some players. We're gonna have to trade some players, and Big Lou is gonna have to do some work. We can still be competitive, though. I know we'll probably have to kick the can down the road again like we always do, and God knows what the numbers will be next year. A lot of dead money will come off the books, though, next year, too. Like, I think this is our last year paying dead money to Drew Brees. Who else? A couple other players. But I think one is trading Michael Thomas, even though it sucks. But if you can trade him, I think it's like $15.8 million that comes off our books if you can trade him. Another one that I don't. I think we can. If they can renegotiate, it'll save us cap room. Is Cam Jordan. I don't want to cut him, but I think it saves us like almost $11 million if you do, or trade him. That's like the two options: trade or cut. And I don't want to do neither. I'd like to see him renegotiate, but that's gonna be a lot of renegotiating and stuff. That's the kicking the can down the road. Though is the problem. It ends up biting you down for the long. What was the other ones? There's a few. Oh, I think Pete. If you can trade Pete, you get like $10 million. So I think I figured out it's like 60 something million in like with like so many players, like 6 or 7 players that you can trade or cut, and other ones you can renegotiate contracts. And next thing you know, now can we go after big name free agents? No, not gonna happen. Looking more and more like we try to retain Jameis Winston for cheap. If not, I don't know what we do. Play with Taysom and draft a QB maybe. Decisions. There's some hard decisions to make. But anyway, this is my video on it. I had to do a video on it as a Saints fan and a season ticket holder. And I am keeping my season tickets even though we won't have Payton and Breeze. Maybe I'll be able to move them up a little bit, get some better seats, because some people might start backing out. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Stay tuned for more videos to come. We about to start doing some fishing. It's by time. But yeah. Till next time. Y'all stay safe out there. Stay warm. Later.